You found us. What about this idea?
Gotta listen to this show. Why?
Because it's about the hearts and minds of entrepreneurs.
Oh, nailed it.
I didn't even look at the wall.
Nailed it.
I didn't even look at the
All
wall.
right, listen, honestly, this is a show. It's different than other shows about entrepreneurship.
It's real. It's real. Real stories.
Is it?
We tend to talk very real.
I love
And
it.
so do our guests. So come have fun with us. Welcome to the couch session.
Oh, second couch session.
Second couch session. Different couch.
Yeah.
Second couch session.
Do we
Better lighting.
Do we like this one? This couch?
You know, it's
only okay.
it's only okay. I mean, it's not bad.
No, but there's better couches.
There are better couches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one we were on last time was leather.
I do like that one.
I kind of like it, but
It's not the best couch
I
ever.
stick to it.
Well, that's leather.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Friends episode where you can't get the leather pants off.
There is. There is. Yeah. So it's a little sticky, but I like this one. This is in our studio, and I'm excited about doing this.
This is the first one we've done in front
of your mural.
my mural.
And close to the last one we'll do in this room.
That's true. Yep, we're moving upstairs. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to What About This Idea? I know it's inside the hearts and minds of entrepreneurs, but also sharing big ideas.
This is his way of slowly changing our tagline.
I know. I do love the sharing big ideas part of it.
I do too.
We're gonna start. So our loyal followers and listeners, we're gonna set up a 1-800 number. Do you even have to do a 1-800 number anymore?
I don't know why you even said that out loud. That's like 25 years ago. 1-800 number.
There are still people who have 1-800 numbers.
Okay.
And they advertise them. But yeah, no one pays long distance anymore.
We will have a way. We should have had a way before we got on. But we will have a way for you guys who have already told us so many great ideas to submit them. And so we're going to talk about them on the show. We're going to have a little segment.
We'll feature you.
We'll feature you on the segment. So we may want to do it like so we get a picture, a photo of them, and we can show them off.
I'm picturing them calling in, right?
Yeah.
And leaving a message like, "Hi, this is Steve from Saskatchewan." And my big idea
Shout out to Steve from Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
the province of.
Yeah. And I'm picturing Steve saying something like, "So the big idea that I've been kicking around in my head for the last 25 years that just is dying to get out, but I don't know if I can ever bring it forward, but it's a automatic horse hoof shaver." And you stick the horse in there, and it just...
Did we talk about that before? That I somehow got very interested in social media on the cow and horse hooves?
No.
Even though I don't have any other farming feeds that come to me.
But other farming? Okay.
Yeah, you would think I would have like chickens and, farmers, and I don't, but I do get a lot of horse and calf hoof.
Really?
Yeah, usually it's like a terrible situation.
Oh, and they're fixing it?
Yeah.
I've seen a few of those over the years. Yeah. I don't know. It just came to me. Anyway, thanks.
Anyway, it won't be that idea. But thank you, Steve, from Saskatchewan, for that
practice run for us. Yeah.
hoof idea.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. We really appreciate you taking the time to call into the show, and hope things are going well up in Saskatchewan. And
up there into Saskatchewan, eh?
Yeah,
It was bad, wasn't it? It was bad.
That's Fargo. That's our Minnesota.
Oh yeah, sorry. That was Fargo.
They do say A.
I was just thinking
all the
about.
time.
I know they do. They say A, but they say hey, closer to the like UP.
Oh.
Yeah. They
All
say
right,
hey.
we have nailed
hey.
it.
Yeah.
So anyway, our show.
I was going to say, this has come full circle for me, because when I was teaching at the university, I used to teach a class called Exploring Technology. And it was a class that at the time, so this is like the early 2000s, that every student in any degree had to take this as a like a liberal studies, like their tech credit.
Your class?
My class
specifically?
Exploring tech.
So you had every
Not just
student-
me, but anyone that taught
Oh, okay.
exploring technology.
Yeah.
And one of the things I did in my class was we created inventions. We did prototypes of inventions. It was basically a what about this idea thing.
Precursor to your time on the show.
This is how things come full circle.
This is life.
This
one
is it.
One thing leads to another, and the next thing you know, you're doing this other thing. These are all steps, progression. It's like entrepreneurship is always kind of this journey that you look back on and you're like, well, if I hadn't done this, I wouldn't have gotten there, and that wouldn't have led me to this thing that led me to the other thing that got me to there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you only see the pathway in retrospect.
Yeah, you can't really see what's out ahead of you.
You can't see what's out ahead of you. I mean, you can, you have to in a sense, like
have to
I'm
try and
getting
visualize.
there, I'm going there.
Yeah.
But sometimes the path of getting there is so zigzaggy that it doesn't make sense going forward, but in retrospect it looks like as if you planned all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you, didn't we talk about like tripping over the roots along the way, and like
Yes.
your planning is sort of trying to like level the ground out, but
Yes.
you know you're going to trip anyway?
Yes.
Who was that with? I forget.
I can't
was
remember.
That Stacy Kupski maybe?
It could have been.
I feel like it was, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, so what are we talking about today on our show? We don't ever, we
don't
jump
really sit-
in.
we
don't-
do.
We didn't,
Plan.
oh yeah, that's the word I was looking for. We didn't do any planning.
We've had, I think, we did a little reflection on the season end last time for our couch conversation.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Maybe in this one we can look forward, right?
Yeah, that's good.
We've got a lot of big things coming up. We've got live shows coming up. We've got more podcasts that we've brought under the DevineFox Productions studio. We're moving to a new studio.
These are big events.
These are big events. And, a lot of times we talk about entrepreneurs being resilient in the tripping over roots, but we don't often talk about how to celebrate those little highs, And I think it's really important to celebrate those highs.
wins
Yeah,
along
the
the way.
wins.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean the highs like
Well, we
smoking
do have
a
the show
joint
on
highs.
cannabis.
Yeah, that's true. We do have a show on cannabis.
I'd like to talk just briefly about that.
Yeah, why don't we?
Yeah, so Full Spectrum Cannabis is our show that we are the creators of it and we are the producers of it, and then we have hosts who are our talent who do the show. I love that part of it.
I
you
do
know?
too. Yeah.
Anyway, but the idea, what I like so much about that show and what it's taught me, and I'll talk about other shows too, but is that word needs to get out. Like we need to destigmatize the whole marijuana, pot, cannabis thing, right? And there's still a huge stigma out in the world, but it's diminishing. And then through a show like that, like why do you do the show, right? Like what's the purpose? I'll tell you, the podcasting, you can either do a show to like get an audience because you're funny or you're trying to be famous or something, or you can, maybe your smaller shows, you just have to have a purpose, some purpose for it. And that show's purpose is awesome because it is a place where you can learn about just some of the things that people have stigmatized about cannabis over the years.
It's funny because we've talked about this quite a bit when we went over to CannaCon to kind of check out the supply chain for cannabis and see if they what additions they would add to the show.
Yeah.
And the conversation there was almost that the suppliers came in from all over the nation, but they were shocked really on how far Minnesota had sort of leapfrogged over many of the other states. And you can go to a bar and order a THC drink in Minnesota,
and you can't most places.
and you can't most places. And like people my age are giving their parents gummies for pain and for other ailments. And that's a population that thought it was pure evil to smoke pot, right? And so, it came in this different form, and that takes some of their pain away, and they're not stupid stoned, right?
I still have this image of like buying pot from from the shady customer at the, the shady dealer guy or whatever in a parking lot somewhere.
Yeah.
And feeling like, oh shit, like I'm going to get arrested. This is going to be terrible. I'll be in jail for the rest of my life. Like those things stuck with me from the early 80s or mid 80s or whatever.
They do.
But now I'm over it.
Ditch weed.
Yeah.
And the cops would come and like arrest the people at the house if they had like hemp growing.
Is that pot I smell?
Hey, what is that stuff?
Yeah. No, and all of that's changed. And so like every time we do these shows, this show included, I always think about like, what's the actual purpose of the show? And there isn't one that we've either done for anyone else or started ourselves that doesn't have like they find their purpose is what I'm saying.
They do. And we have often talked about this, right? Because we aren't the kind of podcast production company where you come in and we kind of rail you through a process and a schedule and, come in and get out. But in almost all of our podcasts, they've never podcast before.
Yep.
They have always been nervous about sharing their voice.
Yep.
They wanted to over-prepare. They canceled many times starting
true.
off,
True.
right? And then they got comfortable just sitting in front of the microphone and saying what has been pent up to be said for so long.
And every one of them puts it out into the world and feels some sort of gratification at having spoken. And
even if it was crap when they started, right?
Right.
Even if that first, are you okay here?
Fruit fly. I was going for it. Ooh, I missed him though.
It's like Spidey moves. Even if they hated that first show that they did or the first couple things or it didn't come out right, they are so proud of their progress and the reaction they're getting. Nobody else thinks it was crap. Everyone else is like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that voice before. I haven't heard that voice before on AI. I haven't heard it on cannabis. I haven't heard it on death, with Val's piece. And,
it's like they grow.
They grow.
It's like it's a really cool thing.
And then now they're like podcasters brushing their shoulders off, right?
There was a period of time that, I thought everyone was podcasting or something. It's not that hard. Just who doesn't have a podcast these days is something I might have said. But it's true that most people don't. It's still a very big growing market. And it's cool.
It's a bit akin to public speaking.
Yeah.
That is the number one fear. Like
a lot of people.
In all the surveys, the number one fear is public speaking.
Dancing.
Well, I know, but other normal people aren't afraid to dance. No, I think people are afraid to dance.
I'd rather be up there speaking in my underwear. I'd rather give a speech in my underwear than be pulled out onto the dance floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty deep-seated fear. I need hypnosis. We have already talked about this.
We should.
Because we came up with the hypnosis stuff. Anyway, so there's us congratulating ourselves on our wonderful podcasting agency and the work that it's done. But seriously, it has been really fun. And I look at those as like mini entrepreneurial ventures, each one of them.
They're all going to take off in their own way.
They do.
And I hope that us just giving them legs with their voice has been worth it. And it's been really great for me personally because I hadn't done a podcast before.
Yeah, it's good for everybody. I interviewed a potential client the other day, and I actually got misty.
Did you?
I got misty at the end. Yes. And I was like, damn it. Like, I can't help myself.
What'd you get misty about?
Because this is a person who is succeeding in business right now, doing very well. I believe, I don't know a lot about Cam, but a couple of jobs, right? Whether they're businesses he started or he's kind of at upper levels in them, I'm not entirely sure. But he wants to focus on mental health and like helping people and has been thinking about doing a podcast forever and has a complete vision laid out for himself. And I'm like, I didn't realize that we built something that can help this person do this thing that can help other people.
Greatest.
And I did get a little misty.
That's the greatest.
Get misty again.
Look at you.
I can't help it.
Look at you, little softy.
Oh, totally. Big baby. I'm a big baby. It's funny. I mean, do you think I'm like, do you think I think of myself as tough?
No.
No. Yeah. I'm a big baby.
But I think you are tough.
I'm tough
But
enough.
it's not something that you're pushing, making sure everybody knows that.
I think, oh, yeah. I think that.
I was sure you were going to bring up the camp again. Camping,
No.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't dare. No, I think male strength has been misrepresented in America over the years.
I think so
and it's
too.
represented as like, can I win in a fight? Am I tougher than this person? Am I like manly enough that? And I think that the true strength is, well, it's true for men and women, but it's compassion.
It's much different. I
it's
mean, that almost
compassion
seems
and love.
caveman-like fighting.
That is caveman-esque.
You know?
It's like the dumbest part of male strength.
We don't evolve this quickly, but it seems like we've had a lot of evolution between then and now.
Yeah, I think that men are much more able to express their emotions and stuff like that. But I always told my kids, like, being a strong man is actually caring for other people. Like, that's how you show strength. But speaking of, I just saw a little thing the other day that kind of struck me as weird or made me a little upset. But our governor, Tim Walz, is going to be, he is the nominee for vice president of the United States. And I knew nothing of his family. I just haven't been following.
I know what you're going to talk about.
And then I guess when he was up there, his son Gus was in the audience, just heart from the depths of his soul, cheerleading on his father. Misty again. It's the Misty
But then he
episode.
went up on stage and he just cried and told his dad how proud of him
Yes,
he was.
and
And it was like, wow.
And the other side of the bad part of masculine stuff, there were people who
Bashed him.
bashed it. That makes me so upset.
Maybe. But, the squeaky wheel gets a lot of attention.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there were plenty more people that were inspired by that were...
Oh, absolutely. I think in non-politics, forget the politics part of it, right? If you can't, if you have a problem with a kid being proud of their father for being in that position, then I kind of have a problem with you or whatever. But yes, I think the majority of people for sure could take the politics part of it out.
Yeah.
And just look at that kid and be like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Like, because it is. It was very sweet.
It was very sweet. And you can, again, politics aside, but the way Tim reacted to his son was lovely.
Great.
It was lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, and not the politics part. Like, we always try and avoid the politics for the most part, which is good. I think that's okay. Let them sort that out. There's plenty of politic talk out there anyway. Yeah, so entrepreneurship. I've been thinking a lot about it lately and kind of like what it takes. Like, we always talk about resilience and we always talk about perseverance and stuff, but like just like how much effort goes into creating anything new. And you and I are both in the meat of it right now.
Yeah.
With Avid Edge and with this company, like, how do we get all successful? You know?
It's funny because we know it's based on risk, but we always hope that it was the risk we already took and not the one we still have to take.
Oh, is that what's supposed to happen? Because it feels like it's just perpetual.
It's a perpetual risk.
Always risk.
It's just like even moving into the new office, right? Like, yeah, we can afford it. Our businesses are strong enough. They really are. But it still feels like a risk, right?
It still doesn't feel great. Yeah.
I've been thinking about entrepreneurship too in the sense that, sometimes I look at people who haven't been in a relationship for a long time and they end up having to rely on themselves so much, right? They take themselves out to movies and they
buy themselves gifts, I
buy
imagine.
themselves gifts and make a good meal for themselves. They call their friends.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, they don't have, if they stay alone too long, they don't have the ability to get through something hard with someone. Like, you're not practicing that. It's like a marriage, right? Like,
Sure.
you're not, you constantly have to practice listening and compromise and learning.
I sort of thought that, like, as the marriage goes on, you practice not listening more or less. You practice your ability to be like, Oh, were you saying something?
I don't think so. But my marriage is only 22 years in.
Oh.
Maybe that comes in the next wave.
Later on down the road. Well, if you've made it that far without that.
That's a good point in the sense that why be reactivated by everything your spouse does, right? It's like we tend to, like if you said that, I would be much less reactivated than if my husband said it, right?
Sure.
Because he should, in my mind, should know better. You know what I mean?
In your mind, should know better.
In my mind, he should know better. Like he's already learned this lesson. Why would he be asking that again or talking about that again? You know what I mean? Like if I just gave him grace, if I give him grace.
I think in business partnerships, and you and I are in the midst of a business partnership. There's this tendency to can be this tendency to expect perfection of your partner, and then look at a partner and like the thing that they do that's wrong, because it's not a marriage, right? You haven't actually officially, in front of God or whatever, said we're going to stay together.
I mean, like, I would have less patience with you fucking up than I would my husband, because I have like a marital contract with him. You know what I mean?
Yes. Thank you for saying.
Is it that way?
That's what I'm trying to get at.
We actually have to be respectful of each other, and we have to make sure we can get through conflict and all those things.
Yeah, you said it less delicately. A marriage is like, well, okay. But
it's not a delicate situation.
No, but I also think it's important in business partnerships to realize, like, if you've found yourself a business partner who is, let's go with 87% of the time doing the right stuff.
87. Not 86.
No, it's a good number. I don't know. 87% of the time.
It's a good percentage.
Yeah. 87% of the time doing the things that they need to do in a way that you agree with and that you see, right? You can't let the 13% of the time get in the way of.
No.
You have to figure out how to manage that relationship long term, because otherwise, I mean, people end up kind of skipping around different business relationships. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do, to start a business. It's a hard thing to have a partner in a business.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be vulnerable, and you have to. The thing about in a business, going back to what we said when we first started talking about the business, you have to take risk, and
it's
sometimes that's
risk.
Bold moves, and sometimes that's saying the wrong thing, and sometimes that's worrying about the wrong thing, and you know what I mean? Like It's like you have to be making bold moves, and you're bound to piss somebody off doing that. Yes. And you're bound to create conflict around doing that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, there was an HBO series. I think it was with Don Cheadle, but I also get Don Cheadle mixed up with some other actors sometimes. But anyway, don't make fun of me. It happens. God, I know what you're thinking. It's not that. Anyway, good Lord. Oh, Clark, help us. But anyway, it's based in like the 70s or 80s. I think 80s.
Yeah.
And it's just a business environment. And of course it's an HBO show or Showtime or whatever. So they're allowed to say all sorts of crazy shit. And it's a comedy, right?
Right.
But I love the portrayal of business partners who like blow up and get in each other's face and yell at each other and get all angry one day, and then the next day they're like having the best time together and stuff, like.
Are you talking about The Office?
No.
Oh.
Not The Office. No, that's just like a regular old TV show, right?
I don't know what you were talking about.
I never know what I'm talking about either.
Well, it sort of came out coherent, so I thought we could follow it right through, but no.
No, I'll look it up. It was a good series.
But
we'll put it in there.
There's also a bit of a new generation of communication, right? First, it's okay to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to screw up. It's okay to ask forgiveness. It's okay to tell your business partner you want to be better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, back in those days, you were like driving the numbers,
Right.
just let's drive the numbers. And sure, numbers are important and profit is important, but if you don't set the stage, I would say business partnerships. I just got out of my entrepreneur organization meeting this morning,
Oh, yeah.
and
That's pretty fancy.
they were, doesn't it sound it?
It is.
And they were saying that that's the number one failure of businesses,
Partnerships.
partnerships.
That's I don't think I'm articulating my thoughts very well on this whole partnership thing. I just don't. But I think it. Maybe if we did some planning or research or got the statistics, real statistics.
Something.
No, but it's been on my mind lately. Like, it is a really difficult thing. Yet somehow or other, two people look at each other all the time and they're like, "You want to go into business together?
Let's do it."
Yeah. And then, there isn't a lot of thought necessarily all the time, or
There isn't.
or there can be way too much thought, and they try and think of all the different possible scenarios. But I
Or
just,
they just don't believe that they can do it themselves.
yeah.
But I've always been the power of two, right? 1 + 1 equals more like 4 or 5 than 1 + 0
I know
equals-
math pretty dang well.
Are you sure?
1 + 1 is 1. Or 1. 1 + 1 is 2. No, I know what you're saying. Yes,
But the
there's
power,
there's
but
a
the power
multiplying
of a
effect.
partnership where you've got one person who, in a situation, talks about taking risk or let's plow through this, let's do that, and the other one is like, oh my gosh, you have to be able to listen to that idea and also say, that's fucking crazy. We can't do that.
Yeah, those things have to be true.
You're ignoring all these other things.
Yeah,
right?
those things have to be true at the same
Exactly.
time. You have to foster an environment where people can speak their mind and say the thing. Mm-hmm. And then you also have to be respectful enough of each other to be able to say, fuck no, that's
no.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy idea.
It's like one of those things that's funny because I don't see us as a vulnerable partnership, right? We've been partners now for a year.
Yeah.
And I don't see it as
After day one, I met you and you were like, yeah, sure.
yeah, we're going to do this. And I could be sitting here today going, that was a stupid thing to do.
I mean,
but
maybe you are sometimes.
I'm not actually. I could be, but I'm not. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I don't.
It's on camera.
I don't feel bad at all. I feel like I'm not going to. This is what a lot of times there was a couple of
Curious.
inspirational speakers. It's not Tony Robbins, but it's because Tony's still happily married to his wife. But there are other inspirational speakers that have then gone, oh my God, my marriage is so great. Let's do like a marriage grouping and teaching, and then sure the fuck they get divorced. So it's
You
like,
find humor in that.
I find humor in that. I don't think it did anything for your partnership to tell other people how to be a partner.
No.
No.
Isn't it often the people who like outwardly project perfection of some sort that like in the background you're like, oh, that was all burning down.
It's kind of a shit show back there, isn't it?
It's all craziness.
What a dirty closet you have.
Yeah, that. Yes. No, I think, okay, so let's see. Let's say you, our listener, was trying to get something from our conversation. Let's say there's a point to what we're talking about.
Let's pretend. Hypothetically, if there was a point to this conversation.
Went somewhere and you got something from it. I think business partnerships are incredibly important.
Mm-hmm.
It is way too difficult to run most businesses without support, right? And then you get into the whole like layers of employees and people that like an employee is usually kind of a different type of partner. Like they actually love working for the company.
Right.
More than for some, it's just a job. I get that. There are jobs out there that it's just a job and they could care less, right? But most people, if you think about it, if they're going to spend 10, 15, 20 years of their life working for you or for a company that you own or whatever, they're really their identity now is tied
to the company.
to that company.
Yeah.
They're a part of you and your business in a way that you maybe just Like you can't think of them as just employees.
I think there's pros and cons there, don't you?
Yeah.
Like there's pros and cons. There is the pro that you are very brand aware, you've grown with the company, you've obviously made enough contribution to still be there.
Yep.
And the con is that if companies aren't innovative and consistently innovative, and that oftentimes means diversity in their employees,
New employees and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
they will die,
Yeah.
especially in this environment.
Yeah. I think, so getting back to like actually giving you something here for your efforts watching this show. Yeah. No, I think that it's super important to consider a lot of things when you consider a business partner.
Yeah.
But one of the big ones I would say that I've learned over the years is that it's probably best not to go into business with someone who's either never been in business before.
Yeah.
As a partner, who's like, it's their first entrepreneurial endeavor. You might want to think twice before going into that. And especially if it's two people,
Yeah.
it's more often than not kind of a recipe for disaster in a certain way, because there's going to be so much that comes up and there's a lot of risk.
It's all new.
It's
Right.
all new and it's all
new.
risk, and there's always these ups and downs.
And to me, it would seem like both partners who are fresh into business would both want the other one to do all the work that they're not familiar with, right? Because you go into business because you know something about something, right?
Yep.
And that the others would do that. I think that it's interesting with us because you and I have had, and fairly recently, business partnership disasters,
Yeah, we both have.
right?
Yep.
But we still believe in the concept
We
of
still
it.
looked at each other and we're like,
Yeah, let's
you want to
do
go
it.
into business? Sure.
Why not?
What should
I
we
don't
do?
remember anything bad about that idea.
Never gone wrong. It must
nothing
be.
never happened there.
And I don't know a thing about this, so it's probably not my place to say, but it might be a little bit like having children in a certain way. Like in the moment when the pain is all fresh and real, you're like, I'm never doing that again.
Never doing that again.
But then later you're like, oh, I kind of love this little thing, and I could do that again, I suppose. And that's like business partnerships. When they're painful, they're really painful. It is
Yeah.
ugly. And
sometimes, no matter what you do, no matter what coach you bring in, or advisor, or
I wish people didn't.
self-discovery,
Yeah.
and no matter what you do, sometimes it's not going to save the partnership.
No, and that's my phone. It's just zzing over there. It's okay.
You know, these microphones cut out that sound.
Oh, I just thought you were looking around for it.
Well, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't mine, but I was going to do it subtly,
Discreetly?
so they didn't notice.
What? It's like, are we on a show or something? Okay, anyway. Yeah, I'll have to remember to put it on silent next time. Or not talk about it. Just ignore it. I could do that too.
At any point.
No, when I always look at the, like in the aftermath of the demise of a partnership like that, I always think like why did it have to end everything though?
Yeah, right. I do.
You know,
I think that
like-
too. Like, why don't we
Like,
get through it?
There's got to be. So I would urge you, at the beginning of a business relationship, if each party can kind of clearly define what they want out of the partnership or out of the business, I think that's helpful. Like, I don't think you can plan for every eventuality and stuff like that. I wouldn't say sit down and like make it everything crystal clear. Like, we need an airtight contract in case we get into a conflict with each other.
Right.
Like, I think that's kind of ridiculous
Yeah.
when people do that. But if you say from an early start, say like, you might find that you don't actually want 50% of the liability of ownership of the partner or of the business, and you might find that it makes more sense. Like, I would like to combine efforts with you to start this business. We're both going to put in, like you write out at the beginning, like, we will each put in the same amount of effort and time and money and all the rest of these things. And if it doesn't get that way, like if it doesn't work out that way, we have to re-examine things and then but come together and agree.
Yeah.
And you might find that you don't want 50% ownership, you might not even want any percent ownership, but you want a share of profit at the end of the day.
Exactly. There are a lot of different choices.
There are. And those
There's a lot of
sometimes
different
work out
choices.
better because in most cases, I would say when a business starts, there's always the best intentions. You go in with a partner, and then it turns out that ultimately it was one person's dream more than it was the other person's dream or something.
Or they had more grit. You
Yeah,
know, they were driven more by whatever.
Yeah, and then that's where some of the bad feelings come in, when really it should have been, if you can clarify some of that from the start, I would say it's helpful. Whose baby is this that we're trying to birth here?
And you don't really know
raise?
until you're tested.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think you're committed. You think you want to do that. And then you're tested and you're like, yeah, no, this is not the part I wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I ask you, like, you have been a successful entrepreneur. You've started and closed many businesses, and you keep pushing. Like, what do you think is the ultimate motivation for you to be in business?
Yeah, I think about that actually. That thought crosses my mind. It's an existential thing in a certain way. Like, what is my actual purpose here? I don't think in those terms very often. You know, I don't wander the earth thinking, why am I here? You know, what is my actual purpose? But I think that actually weighs in on why I'm entrepreneurial. I think it has a weight in it, I should say, because I joke sometimes that I'm not employable, because I've very infrequently in my life held a job for someone else. And I think it's because I don't see a lot of purpose or meaning or value. So when I start something, a business, like when I was doing construction, I worried about the house more than I worried about the person.
Yeah.
I thought about it in the terms of, well, the house needs help. It needs to be fixed, right? And so I was providing a service to the home through the homeowner. And I think, like, the reason I got a little misty about the whole podcast thing is because that feels like purpose to me. When we've created this thing that helps this other person get their message out, now I've done something with my life a little bit or something. I don't know, because it's never been money. And it should be some more better. I
definitely think that might be something you want to embrace.
I'm working on it. That part I am working on. No, it's super important. It's never been exclusively money,
right.
I should say. You know, and I think more so as I get older, I realize that, like, in order for the things that I do to be successful, they have to make more money.
Yep.
And I'm not afraid of that. I'm not worried about it. But I think the actual purpose for the things that I start, like, you have to look at what they are, and they're mostly about helping people and community and stuff like that.
I agree. And you know, money, a lot of times we get caught up in whatever we learned about money, right? And whatever we learned about people with money, or we create sort of scarcity around money, just subconsciously, and I am that as well. And you know, actually, I always think about that thing I've always said, the power and love thing, right? So you need, in order for you to be able to give and change and give to community the thing you advocate for, the thing you love, you can't just do it. Martin Luther King said this, right? I already said this once. Martin Luther King said this.
Martin Luther King Jr., right?
She said this.
Yeah.
He said, if it's only about love, it's only about creating whatever it is you want, community, love, change, social justice, whatever it is, you can advocate all you want, but without power, it's anemic.
Yeah.
Right? And if you are all power, then you're oppressive.
Yep.
And so it's this magical marriage between money and resources and decision-making control, so that you can make difference on the advocacy, on the love, and the things you love.
Yeah, totally.
And it's oftentimes, when I grew up, I always thought about money as being,
this is
greedy
getting-
and angry, and you know what I mean, like dismissive of human experience.
Money
right?
itself?
Yeah, money itself, and just like the way people hurt people over money, and the way that people hurt people over territory and things like that. Right?
Doesn't it
like
seem
always,
senseless?
it seems senseless, but not 100% senseless, right? Because if you don't have the power or the resources, you can't make change on the thing that you love. And how can you accept, in a sense, like, you are an ultimate giver. How do you accept resources and control and power in order to build, impact of love?
Something that
Impact
helps.
of the thing that you want. And
Shit, I don't know.
I don't know. This is what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I think it's always a dance between the power and the love. I'm sorry I said the word dance. It's like a swear word.
No, I liked it there. I'm fine. I'm fine with like I love music. I love other people dancing, except when they look at you. Like when people are dancing and
they're like, come on, Sam.
and they do that. Yeah, you do that, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't. I've never been in a dancing situation, like a wedding or something. I won't do that now that I know.
You mean you've not been in one with me?
With you.
You're
yeah.
right.
Other people I have done.
Yeah, and then you're looking
some
at
of
them and you're like, come on.
I'm like, come on, dance. And then they get out there and I'm like, oh shit, they don't like to dance. Shit, that's he is not a dancer.
that one's not comfortable here in this space. All right.
That's funny. All right, should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take our
Let's take a little halvesies.
little short break.
What are we gonna do next half?
Well, we didn't plan for the first one. Why would we plan for the second one?
I don't know. Maybe people would.
Oh, you're looking for an answer for them.
Yeah.
So that they might know if they want to come back.
Exactly. I mean,
Like,
they don't. We shouldn't be roping them into something they
is
don't
it
want to do.
More of the same, or are they
Probably
going
a
to get
lot
into
about
something?
sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I'm thinking.
Okay.
All right.
Second half.
Second half.
All that.
It's all that.
Okay.
Don't cry. It's over.
Oh, you did it. You made it to the very end of the show. You know what you can do to help us? What can they do to help us? They can tell their friends how awesome this show is.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
You know what else? And I don't know if people know this or don't know this, but like if you found us and you see us on socials somewhere, just hit repost or share it with your community.
Share, repost, follow. Isn't there a follow option?
Yeah,
of some
follow,
kind?
subscribe. We're not going to charge you anything.
No.
Just hit the subscribe button.
No,
It's
we
not gonna
just
hurt
need
you.
to create a community around entrepreneurism and how the real shit happens.
I like it. Well, because we're real. You said it in the intro.
Real.
We talk real. No, seriously, tell your friends. What a great show. Oh my gosh, these people are doing the best work ever. Yeah, right?
That's what you should say.
Yeah.
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 And just come back. Have fun with us. We love this.
We'll have someone, we'll interview someone cool next week too.
Someone completely different.
Yeah, from prison. Thanks.
We always have to have that.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.